Most people are chasing money, working harder, longer, hoping for a big break, but it never comes. Why? Because wealth isn't something you chase. It's something you create. In this video, I reveal the two things that actually generate lasting wealth, things most people completely overlook. You'll learn why focusing on money alone keeps you stuck, and how shifting your mindset and actions can unlock financial freedom. These aren't vague ideas. They are proven principles that billionaires, business leaders, and financial experts live by every day. By the time you finish watching, you'll understand exactly what to focus on, what to ignore, and how to start building real wealth immediately. Stop chasing money. Start creating it. Your financial breakthrough begins here. Most people think wealth is something you go out and grab, like it's sitting on a shelf somewhere, waiting for you to snatch it. They think if they just work harder, hustle longer, and chase every dollar, they'll finally reach it. But here's the truth. Wealth doesn't work like that. Money doesn't respond to chasing. True wealth, lasting wealth, is a byproduct. It's something that happens naturally when you focus on creating value, solving problems, and becoming someone who people want to follow and trust. You don't chase it, you attract it. You earn it by the impact you make. I want you to really hear this because most people miss it. They think wealth is the finish line. They think once they have the money, life will finally make sense. But that's a trap. Wealth isn't the goal, it's the outcome. It's the result of doing the right things in the right way over time. If you make money your goal, you'll always feel like it's just out of reach, no matter how much you have. But when you make value creation your mission, money comes to you naturally, and it comes in ways you never expected. Think about the people who have built true wealth. Look at the entrepreneurs, the leaders, the people who've created legacies. Did they start by obsessing over their bank account balance? Not at all. They started by asking a different question. How can I serve people? How can I solve a problem that no one else is solving? How can I make something better, faster, easier, more effective? The focus was always on providing something of worth. Money followed because people were willing to pay for the value they received. Wealth was never the goal. It was the natural consequence of excellence. Now, here's the thing most people don't understand. When you chase money, your energy changes. You start looking for shortcuts. You start trying to get rich quickly instead of getting rich right. You make decisions out of fear, scarcity, or greed instead of making decisions that create long-term value. And that's why chasing money often leads to frustration, stress, and disappointment. But when your focus shifts from getting money to creating value, something incredible happens. You start thinking strategically. You start seeing opportunities that others miss. You start building systems, relationships, and influence that multiply your impact and naturally multiply your income too. Let me be clear. This doesn't mean you ignore money. Money is important. It's a tool, but it's not the goal. Treat it like a byproduct, and it becomes much easier to manage, grow, and attract. When you focus on the work that matters, the work that makes lives better, solves problems, and contributes to the world, you stop worrying about the money. It comes to you as a natural reward for the value you provide. That's how wealth builds itself, sustainably and powerfully. This also explains why so many people with good jobs or high-paying careers still feel financially stuck. They may earn money, but they aren't creating value that multiplies beyond their own effort. They are trading time for money, and time is limited. Wealth, in its truest sense, comes from creating something that works even when you're not physically there. Businesses, investments, systems, ideas, products, services. That's what turns effort into legacy and income into freedom. So if you want to create real wealth, you must shift your mindset right now. Stop obsessing over numbers on a screen, over your bank account, over chasing the next dollar. Instead, ask yourself, what problem can I solve? What value can I provide that no one else can? What skills can I develop that allow me to contribute at a higher level? When your energy is on creating value, people will notice. Opportunities will show up, doors will open, and money in every form will follow without you having to chase it. Remember, wealth is a reflection of the value you bring into the world. You can't fake it. You can't shortcut it. You can't force it. But if you dedicate yourself to creating value, serving others, and becoming the best version of yourself, wealth becomes inevitable. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's the natural byproduct of a life well lived and a work well done. Wealth is never something you grab. It's something you earn, something that comes to you when you focus on being valuable, not just being paid. Start there, and everything else falls into place. Most people underestimate the power of their own mind. They think success, wealth, and freedom are all about opportunities, luck, or even connections. But the real game begins inside your head. Everything you achieve, every dollar you make, every relationship you build starts with how you think. If your mind isn't trained to see possibilities, to believe in abundance, and to act with confidence, all the opportunities in the world won't matter. You can't outwork a negative mindset. You can't outsmart a self-limiting belief. If you want to create real wealth, the first step is to master your mind. Think about it. Look at people who consistently succeed, who create massive value and leave legacies. They don't have some secret formula that others can't access. What they do have is a mindset that refuses to accept limitations. They see obstacles as challenges, not threats. They see setbacks as lessons, not failures. They see money not as something to chase, but as something that flows naturally to those who solve problems and deliver value. And that perspective changes everything. When your mind is focused on abundance, opportunity, and growth, your actions automatically align with those thoughts. Now, most people are walking around with beliefs that silently sabotage them. They tell themselves, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never make enough," or "money is hard to come by." These thoughts may seem small, but they are powerful. They shape every decision you make, every risk you take or avoid. They limit your creativity, your courage, and your ability to persist when things get tough. The mind is like soil. If you plant weeds, you'll grow weeds. If you plant seeds of value, confidence, and opportunity, you'll grow fruit. The question is, what are you planting in your mind every single day? Mastering your mindset doesn't happen by accident. It's intentional. It requires consistent effort to recognize negative thoughts and replace them with empowering ones. It requires you to guard your mind from fear, doubt, and the noise of people who don't understand your vision. You must train yourself to focus on solutions rather than problems, on opportunities rather than limitations, on progress rather than perfection. Every thought you entertain either serves your growth or sabotages it. Choose wisely. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is understanding that your mind doesn't just affect what you think, it affects what you attract. If you're constantly focused on scarcity, fear, and lack, you will attract circumstances that reflect those thoughts. But if you cultivate a mindset of abundance, gratitude, and resourcefulness, you begin to see opportunities where others see walls. You begin to take actions that make wealth inevitable. Master your mind, and the world begins to bend in your favor. This also means developing resilience. Life will throw challenges at you. Deals will fall through. People will doubt you. Times will get hard. But your mindset determines whether you crumble or rise. The person who has mastered their mind sees setbacks as temporary and solvable. They understand that temporary defeat does not equal permanent failure. They keep learning, keep adjusting, and keep moving forward, knowing that their mindset is their ultimate tool for success. Another part of mastering your mind is taking responsibility for your results. Too many people blame circumstances, the economy, their upbringing, or other people for their lack of wealth. That's the thinking of someone whose mind is not in control. When you master your mindset, you see clearly that your results are the reflection of your thoughts and actions. You stop waiting for permission or for luck to strike. You recognize that your power lies in how you think, the decisions you make, and the actions you consistently take. Meditation, visualization, study, affirmations, these are not just self-help techniques. They are tools for shaping your mind to operate at a higher level. They help you focus, reduce fear, and build the kind of confidence that leads to wealth. When you consistently feed your mind with ideas of growth, abundance, and value creation, your behavior changes. Your decisions improve. Your results multiply. Wealth stops being a dream and starts being a natural outcome. So, if you want to create real wealth, you must start inside. You must master your mind. Train it to believe in possibilities, to see solutions, to act with courage, and to persist despite challenges. Guard it against doubt, negativity, and fear. Feed it with knowledge, discipline, and vision. Because everything you see on the outside, your income, your opportunities, your success, is simply a reflection of the world you've created inside your mind. Master your mind, and wealth will stop being a struggle. It will become the natural result of the value you provide, the opportunities you see, and the actions you take without hesitation. Most people work hard, hoping their effort alone will create wealth. They grind day in and day out, trading time for money, believing that sheer effort is the path to financial freedom. But here's the truth: effort without leverage is limited. You can only work so many hours in a day, and even if you push yourself to the limit, there's a ceiling. Wealth isn't built by working harder. It's built by working smarter, by leveraging systems and relationships that multiply your results. That is where the real power lives. Think about it. A single person working 12 hours a day can only do so much. But a well-designed system supported by strong relationships can accomplish in days what would take one person years. Systems are the structures, the processes, the repeatable ways of doing things that create efficiency and consistency. They allow you to scale your work without scaling your effort. If you want to create real wealth, you cannot ignore systems. You have to learn to design them, to implement them, and to trust them. Now, most people avoid systems because they seem complicated or because they require upfront effort before they produce results. But let me tell you something. The time you invest in creating a system pays for itself 1,000 times over. It's like planting a tree that grows fruit for years. Once the system is in place, it works for you, even when you're not working. It handles routine tasks, it ensures quality, and it multiplies output. The people who are wealthy, the people who have financial freedom, understand this principle. They don't do everything themselves. They design frameworks that allow them to do more with less friction and with consistent results. Relationships are the second half of this principle, and just as powerful. No one builds wealth alone. Your network, your mentors, your partners, and even your customers are extensions of your ability to create value. A strong relationship can open doors that money alone cannot. It can provide insights, opportunities, and support that accelerate your progress. But relationships are not about taking, they're about giving. They are about creating trust, delivering value, and contributing to the success of others. When you invest in relationships with sincerity and integrity, they become the leverage that multiplies your efforts exponentially. Think about the people who have created massive wealth. They didn't do it by working in isolation. They built teams, they collaborated, they surrounded themselves with people who complemented their strengths. They didn't try to be experts in everything. They focused on what they do best and leveraged others for the rest. That is how influence grows. That is how opportunities compound. That is how wealth becomes inevitable. You cannot rely solely on your individual effort if your goal is lasting success. You must learn to use systems and relationships as force multipliers. And here's the thing many people miss. Leverage isn't just about efficiency or convenience, it's about freedom. When your systems and relationships are strong, you are no longer tied to a single paycheck, a single product, or a single business. Your income and impact grow even when you're not directly working. That is the essence of financial freedom. That is how you move from trading hours for dollars to building wealth that works for you. Without leverage, you will always be limited. With leverage, your potential becomes almost limitless. It also requires wisdom. Not every system is worth creating, and not every relationship is worth nurturing. You have to focus on the relationships that align with your vision, on the systems that create real results. But when you do, the compounding effect is extraordinary. Your efforts are no longer confined to your own energy. They are amplified by processes, structures, and the people you connect with. That is why some people can achieve in 5 years what others struggle to achieve in 50. Remember, wealth is not just about money. It's about impact, freedom, and legacy. Systems and relationships are the tools that allow you to scale your impact. They allow you to influence more people, solve more problems, and create solutions that stand the test of time. You cannot do this alone, and you cannot do it without design. You must intentionally build your leverage in both areas if you want to achieve wealth that lasts. So, if you want to move from effort to exponential results, you must embrace systems and relationships, build frameworks that work consistently, invest in connections that grow your influence, surround yourself with people who elevate your vision, align your actions with structures that multiply your impact. This is how you step out of the limitation of just working harder and into the world of true wealth creation. Leverage is the bridge between your effort and your freedom. Master it, and your potential is limitless. Most people think wealth is about external things, money, property, stocks, or the next deal. They look outside themselves for solutions, believing that the next opportunity, the next connection, or the next paycheck will change their life. But the truth is, the most profitable asset you will ever have is yourself. Your skills, your knowledge, your mindset, and your character, they are the foundation upon which all wealth is built. If you don't invest in yourself first, nothing else will ever fully work. Think about it for a moment. You can have all the money in the world, but without the ability to manage it, grow it, or multiply it, it will vanish. You can have opportunities lined up, but if you don't have the skills to execute, those opportunities will pass you by. The most successful people understand this principle. They know that time and money spent developing themselves, their talents, their understanding, their mindset is the best investment they can make. It's not risky. It compounds faster than any stock, any property, any business. It's the asset that keeps giving back year after year. Investing in yourself isn't just about formal education or taking classes. It's about continuous growth, about expanding your capacity to create value. It's about learning the skills that will allow you to solve problems better, faster, and more efficiently. It's about developing emotional intelligence, financial literacy, and strategic thinking. It's about reading, studying, experimenting, and being willing to step outside your comfort zone to grow. Every bit of knowledge you acquire, every skill you master, every piece of wisdom you apply is like planting a seed in the richest soil imaginable, one that will produce fruit for the rest of your life. The people who build lasting wealth understand that there is no shortcut around this. They spend time developing themselves before they try to develop their businesses or their bank accounts. They read, they attend seminars, they seek mentors, and they continually sharpen their skills. They know that when they invest in themselves, every other investment becomes more effective. Money invested in a business, a property, or a market without first investing in the person behind the investment is limited by the capacity of that person. But the person who continually grows becomes a multiplier for everything they touch. Here's the thing most people don't realize. When you invest in yourself, you increase your ability to create value for others. That's what wealth is, a reflection of value provided. The more valuable you are, the more people will want to pay for your products, services, or expertise. The more you expand your mind, your skills, and your character, the more doors open, the more opportunities appear, and the more your results compound. Investing in yourself is not selfish. It is strategic. It is the first step toward becoming the kind of person that wealth naturally follows. Now, some people hesitate to invest in themselves because it feels expensive. They look at the price of courses, training, or books and think, I can't afford that. But here's the truth. Not investing in yourself is far more costly. The longer you wait, the more opportunities you miss, the slower your growth, the smaller your impact. Every dollar, every hour, every effort you put into improving yourself pays back multiple times over. It is the most reliable, consistent, and risk-free investment you can make. Investing in yourself also means prioritizing your health, your mindset, and your energy. Wealth creation is a long-term game, and you cannot play it effectively if you are exhausted, distracted, or unfocused. Your body and mind are the engines that power your success. Treat them well. Feed them with knowledge, rest, exercise, and discipline. Protect your time from distractions that drain your energy. Build routines that strengthen your mind and body. The more capable you are, the more leverage you have over your circumstances, and the faster you can achieve lasting wealth. The people who truly succeed are not necessarily the smartest or the luckiest. They are the ones who commit to becoming better every single day. They are the ones who understand that the greatest asset is themselves, and that every improvement in their ability multiplies everything they touch. When you invest in yourself first, you unlock potential that no one can take away from you. You create a foundation so strong that opportunities, income, and wealth naturally flow to you without you having to chase them. So if you want to create lasting wealth, start with yourself. Grow your knowledge, sharpen your skills, strengthen your character, and protect your energy. Become the kind of person who can produce value that others cannot ignore. Invest in yourself first, and everything else, opportunities, money, influence, will naturally follow. Your greatest investment is you. Most people think success is about hustle, about grinding harder than everyone else, about pushing themselves to the limit every single day. They measure their work by how many hours they spend, how tired they are, how many tasks they check off a list. But here's the truth. Hustle alone doesn't create wealth. Hard work is important, yes, but consistency beats hustle every single time. Wealth is not built in bursts of frantic energy. It's built by showing up day after day, doing the right things in the right way, and never letting temporary setbacks throw you off track. Let me explain this clearly. When you rely on hustle, you are living in extremes. One day you might give your all, but the next day you're exhausted and falling behind. Hustle is unsustainable. It's a sprint, not a marathon. But wealth creation, real financial freedom, is a long-term game. It requires discipline, structure, and persistence. It's about creating habits and routines that compound over time so that your actions today multiply in ways you might not even see for months or years. Consistency is the engine that powers that compounding effect. Think about it this way. If you work sporadically, sometimes giving 100% and sometimes giving 10%, your results will be unpredictable. But if you commit to doing a little bit every day, showing up reliably, and improving just a little more each day, your growth becomes inevitable. Small, disciplined actions compound faster than bursts of frantic energy. They build momentum. They create trust with clients, customers, and partners. They allow systems to take hold, and they give relationships time to grow and flourish. Consistency is what turns effort into results. Most people ignore this principle because it feels slow. They want instant results, instant recognition, instant wealth. But real wealth doesn't happen overnight. It happens when you commit to a process and stick with it, even when it's boring. Even when it's hard, even when no one is watching. Every great entrepreneur, every leader, every person who has built lasting success has understood this. They don't rely on luck. They rely on showing up, doing the work, and trusting that the small, consistent actions they take today will create extraordinary results tomorrow. Consistency also allows you to improve. When you show up every day, you learn, you refine your skills, you experiment, you adjust. Hustle might get you a temporary win, but it doesn't give you the time or clarity to improve steadily. Consistency creates mastery. And mastery is what separates the wealthy from everyone else. The person who is willing to consistently learn, grow, and refine their craft will always rise above the person who relies on short-term effort or luck. Another reason consistency beats hustle is that it builds credibility. People notice those who consistently deliver value, who consistently keep their promises, who consistently show up and perform. Trust is not built overnight. It's earned through repeated, reliable action. And when people trust you, opportunities follow. Investors, partners, customers, and clients are drawn to reliability and dependability. They invest in people who consistently produce results, not in someone who burns bright for a week and disappears the next. Consistency builds a reputation that hustle alone cannot. Consistency also keeps your momentum going. One of the biggest challenges in wealth creation is maintaining progress when things get tough. There will be setbacks, failures, and distractions. If you rely on bursts of energy, you will falter at the first obstacle. But when you are consistent, you have built a rhythm, a routine, a discipline that carries you through the difficult times. You don't stop because one day feels hard. You keep showing up. You keep moving forward. And over time, that persistence creates results that seem almost inevitable in hindsight. Most importantly, consistency turns small actions into extraordinary outcomes. Think about planting seeds. One seed won't produce a tree overnight, but if you water it consistently, give it sunlight, and care for it every day, eventually it grows into a strong, fruit-bearing tree. Your consistent efforts work the same way. Every call you make, every skill you practice, every system you refine, every relationship you nurture, each small action compounds over time. And eventually, the wealth, the freedom, and the success you've been building quietly and consistently become visible to the world. So if you want to create lasting wealth, don't rely on hustle. Hustle burns you out, keeps you chasing short-term wins, and leaves you exhausted. Instead, commit to consistency. Show up every day. Do the work, even when it feels small. Improve steadily. Build systems. Nurture relationships. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep moving forward. That is how ordinary actions turn into extraordinary results. That is how you create wealth that lasts. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is the engine of long-term success. It beats hustle every single time.